spiritual guidance, therapy, and karmic dharmic in-depth analysis. Identify the karmic riddles in your life. Find out why you keep going in circles, having the same experiences, only with new people and new places. What are the lessons, and what are you simply not seeing as you fall into the same pattern each time around? Find out your life's calling, your true destiny, which we all know is the only true way to happiness. Anabella DIWS is a real true blue palm reader. Your hands are a map of your nervous system, astrologer, as well as expert on several new dimensions of therapeutic reading that will surprise even those who think they know it all. Try to debunk, and you'll be amazed how in-depth her scientific knowledge is, and how truly helpful such a reading can be. For every action, there is a reaction, a basic law of physics, and the basis of what our karma buildup is all about, good and bad, and without judgment. Your dharma is what you were put on this earth to do and fulfill, your personal, unique path. A session with Anabella will serve to activate your wiser inner self through alchemy of the heart. Love Lines with Anabella is a method based on transforming and activating the intuitive mind, also known as your third eye. A private session will cover taking an inner look into your deepest emotions and soul path. By activating the heart chakra, discover how the heart is the most powerful electromagnetic field, in fact more powerful even than the brain. Why, if the heart chakra energy field is closed, it can bring on heart problems. And how activation and healing in this area is the key to wellness. Learn how your heart chakra and nervous system connects directly with hand psychology. Discover your inner psyche, your financial and intellectual pursuits. Let Anabella teach you how to map out your inner blueprint. Anabella will be conducting workshops throughout the United States, Europe, and Mexico. Anabella's message is that we have all prepared soul contracts to meet somewhere in time.
Welcome to the Art of Hand Psychology. I'm Anabella DIWS, and I've made it my life's research to find out why is our brain sending messages to our hands. In this wonderful age of Aquarius, human beings want to know why are they repeating a suffering, or why, with the people they love, they actually suffer so much. This is a time of transformation for humanity. People are seeking wisdom and knowledge. Well, the Art of Hand Psychology dates back to 5,000 years. From China to India to Europe, this was a way that people who were in the healing arts were able to see what the brain was doing. It is amazing that these hands are shaped by our brain. It is also amazing that when we pass and we die or we go into inactive life, these lines disappear. Why is that? Well, I'm here to share with you that this is an actual science, and that in Europe, in Germany, in England, they actually use this science to diagnose dementia and Alzheimer's. Today I will be doing a session of a gentleman who comes from the love generation like myself, and who is wanting to know why he having all these talents. In Germany and England, they have been diagnosing dementia and Alzheimer's through the science of hand analysis. You know, it's nothing rare about this. What it is that this brain is wired into our hands, and our hands are the extremity of our brain. And that's why by the shape of a hand, you can see even the level of IQ in a person. You can sit there and see their human nature, their spiritual nature, their intellectual pursuits, and their sexual tendencies. So today I'm going to be doing a session for a gentleman who, again, is a man of many walks of life, and he's decided to want to know what's going on inside. Why could he be emotionally confused at times, or other times be simply with no energy, and other times have moments of genius and brilliance? Well, it all has to do with a biorhythm that we all have. And guess what? all these cosmic information we have out there, astrology, has got to do with the fact that these rocks that revolve around the sun affect our biorhythm. You know, we are designed after Mother Earth. Mother Earth is a living being, and so are we, and this is why we are 96% water as Mother Earth is. So when we understand that we've been designed after Mother Earth, that we have 4 elements on the planet, and we have 4 types of hands, we're able to tap into more wisdom. And my whole message is this: bringing back the splendor of your life, tapping into your wisdom. In my workshops and in my private one-on-one sessions, as a consultant, as a lifestyle coach, bringing back the splendor of life, I teach people how to connect their biorhythm with what the moon is doing. Amazing that us women must really learn to work with the moon, because the moon affects our water weight, our emotional condition, and our intuitive abilities. And with the gentlemen, I also teach this to men, because, you know, men have been working more with the left brain, and my work is to tap into the right brain and activate that right brain and get men to trust that their right brain has a lot of knowing in it. That when you overanalyze life, sometimes you get a little bit stuck, and then you don't know where to go with it. So that's what these classes are about, these workshops, and eventually we will have a show. But anyway, I'm Anabella DIWS. I'm here to serve you, to inform you, and to tap into your wisdom. Ciao. As I've been explaining that the art of hand psychology is an actual science, and now in the medicine world, they're starting to wake up to use this modality to be able to diagnose in deep, what is the person going through? Where are they stressed? Is their heart chakra open or closed? Are they working more with their left brain? Why does depression come? You know, this is something that I teach in my workshops, because depression is here. It attacks us when we don't work with our inner voice and our inner life. All human beings need some type of spiritual activation. In the Judeo-Christian world, they do it maybe once a week. But in the in the Eastern teachings, it's about every day. It's like being an athlete. You take that power walk every day, you eat that superfood, and you also resonate with the universe every day. All right, so today I'm going to explain a little bit about that. We have 4 elements on the planet and 4 types of hands. Our first and most basic hands are the earth hands, and these people will be of more practical mind. Our second hands are the water hands, and they are people who are working more with the intuitive right brain. Our third hands are the fire, and the fire are the people that are the impulsive consumers of energy and goods on the planet. And then we have the air hands, and the air hands are the people that are doing the holistic work on the planet. The artists, the philosophers, the scientists, the spiritual leaders are the ones that usually have that air hand, that long pianist finger. And it lets us know that there's lots of information in the subconscious. Now let me tell you something, that in this day and age, the age of Aquarius, people are working a lot with the paradigm of reincarnation. Yes, we've been here before, and we'll be back. So therefore, I'm here today to share a wonderful session with you, with John Stiles, where we begin looking at his hands and analyzing what is it left and right brain saying. Welcome to the Art of Hand Psychology, John Stiles. I'm so excited that you're here now to do your session.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time.
That's wonderful. Well, great. Well, so here's the gentleman who, like many men, basically sometimes have a little curiosity. You've had a curiosity about what are these holistic sciences saying and how they can work for you?
I've never been curious about anything except this.
Oh, please, no.
No, I have been looking forward to this. Unfortunately, the last few months our schedules have not been coinciding.
Which is okay. It's okay.
So that obviously I think that I'm here now at this particular time for a particular reason.
Right on, exactly. Well, great. This is a moment where he's made like a date in destiny to look at what his left and right brain is doing. So today we're going to do that by analyzing your hands. Now, John, did you know that it's amazing that it is your brain that shapes your hands?
I did not know that.
Yeah, of course. Imagine this world without hands. Imagine what could be created. So, you know, when I talk about metaphysics, I talk about it's conceived in the mind and it's made physical with our hands. That's what's called meta, which is a Greek word, metaphysics, which means mentally created and made physical with hands. So if we didn't have hands, imagine we couldn't do this. So that's why our hands have been neglected in knowledge, and that's why with men who sometimes go, oh, I don't believe in that mumbo jumbo, I go, oh, it's absolute science.
Well, I've seen enough things in my life, you know, being a Vietnam vet, being in a war, having seen a lot of things that are not easily explainable.
I'm sure.
So, you know, that's, I do understand that a lot of people think it's all crap, but I've had enough experiences myself to realize that there's something there, whether we can see it or not, or whether we know it or
Well,
not,
that's just
but there
it.
is something more.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, it's not about the physical only plane, which would be more left brain analysis. When you're working with what you can't see, that's why they're talking about those parallel universes, you see. When you see it, you don't see it, but you feel it.
Yes.
And that's what I talk about, resonation. So today we're going to look at your hands and see, you know, many people that have gone to wars, and, you know, a lot of these young vets that come back, you're a vintage vet, but you come from the love generation.
Yep.
And what it is they don't have a way, absolutely, they don't have a way to heal. You know, they go to psychologists, and somehow they come repeating the same ability, and they give them meds. So the person doesn't do
Or drugs or alcohol.
Right, right. And they don't really do the inner work that we need to be doing. But once we are able to do this type of analysis, we're able to tap into your psyche and open up those meridians and see what's necessary. This is not mumbo jumbo. This is actually science. This is why...
If it's mumbo jumbo, I'll let you know.
Right. This is why in India and in China and all these great places, they've been using it for thousands of years. All right, so let's see the shape of your hands. Okay, you've got what we call water hands. And I've talked about there's 4 elements, right? The 4 elements as we have in the plan. So water hands is letting me know, by the shape of your hands, I'm letting you know that the deep emotions in your life, you have very deep emotions that need to come to the surface. And this is, you see, expressing your needs is part of your mission in this lifetime. And there's times maybe you put that on hold. So with this water hand situation, you need to express your emotional needs and spiritual needs, because otherwise there can be a tsunami of negative emotion coming out. And that's the first thing I say about water hands. But also, you have this ability that may be latent in you, but it's got to do with working with the right side of the brain. Okay?
But that brings up the question, if I have a certain type of hands or a certain type of personality or left brain, right brain, does that mean that I can't, that I'm trapped in that box?
Well,
Can I get outside of that box? Is there a way to...
What it means is this, that you've been trained to work with your left brain most of this life.
Okay.
With your upbringing,
Right.
probably with your spiritual culture, and living in the United States. What the water hands is saying is that you really have this ability in your right brain that should be working. You have not been tapped into that part. And that's why sometimes people, men who have these abilities that are really in the intuitive right brain, in the heart situation, have a crash because they have not been programmed to work with that.
Gotcha.
They've been programmed to work with their left brain, build the house, go to the job, fight the war, understand? And then there's no time to address what the inner needs are. So you as a water hand is letting me know that there is some inner work that you must be doing, and when you do it, you will become more creative. You'll be able to heal the spiritual anxiety and the not understanding, where do I put my marbles? Do I believe in science, or do I go with the metaphysical people, the high holistic spiritual people that right now are saying, hey, there's a shift taking place, we all have to wake up to that part. So everybody has always said through the ages, especially in the love generation, that if when you're in your heart, then you are powerful, you have the power. When you are out of your heart, you can go and lie to yourself, you can manipulate, you can kill, you can let a planet die, you can go to war. So you, as a water hand person, this is letting me know that you have to now tap into that intuitive side of yourself and start to create an intuitive agenda. And that will open up all your creativity. Now
Cool.
That's just with the shape of his hands. Now we're going to look at the inner program. Let's see. All right, so you are a right-hander, right?
Yes, I am.
All right.
As far as I know.
You've been using your right hand most of your life. All right, so you see a little bit of this here that is a little bit stubborn is letting me know the stubborn of the hands is the stubborn of the brain.
Of course.
The brain is the brain has been kind of set in a mode, and that's why we're here today. I'm here to activate and tap into that, getting you out of that mode.
I'm not stubborn.
So this is letting me know that there's resistance to working with the intuitive agenda. That sometimes that inner voice speaks to you and you don't listen to it. You kind of like you kind of chalk it off like, no, let me get back to where I was. Now let me tell you something, especially you techies. These computers sometimes nourish a lot of that left brain. And that's why you can get hypnotized into a computer and stay there for hours and not realize the time is gone. So be very aware of that. That you sometimes just out of you are accustomed to working with your left, and sometimes you resist what the right is asking you to do. All right,
that makes sense.
All right, thank you. All right, okay, so we're going to look at your heart chakra. Now the heart chakra, as I have it in these drawings, is the heart line, heart chakra. We've all got it. You've got it. I've got it. But you see how it erases here?
Yes.
All right, John, so that's letting me know that you're only working with maybe 65% of your heart. You've kind of closed the heart because I see in youth there was a heartbreak. There was some heartbreak that you went to in your younger days and emotional confusion. So you've kind of closed the heart a little to protect your energy and to not have to fall into that. You know, what happens with our perspective in the Western world is we're so programmed to be codependent, emotionally codependent on other people. And I come from Latin America, a Latin American background. I'm Mexican Danish, and we have many songs in Mexico where you talk about "I'll die if you leave me," right? So what we're trying to teach people in this holistic age is that it can't be codependence and love. That if we go through a heartbreak, usually this is a karmic death. We owed this. We owed that heartbreak. And the good news is once you've gone through the heartbreak, that's great that it's over. But most people in this Western world will close their heart up. Oh, that happened to me now? Oh, I'll never give my heart 100%. I'll give it, but I'll give it with reserve. And I see that you've kind of reserved your heart a little.
Yep.
And I see we want to activate your heart. We want to get that heart chakra open. And understand that this was only a little bit of karma that you owed, but it's done. It's over. And guess what? When you do, as we speak now, as I'm speaking to you, your line is starting to grow. And that's what we call activation. As I'm speaking to John right now, his line is starting to appear. See how it's starting to appear? It's starting to appear here.
Yep.
Because that's where it's meant to be. And it's amazing, that's all we need sometimes. That's why a holistic therapist like myself, this is called hand therapy, will give you some information, and the brain immediately and the heart will understand, oh, that's right, I can go with that. All right, great. Well, you have wow, you've got an incredible headline, very long. You're a gentleman who meditates things a long time. And you meditate things before you act, and that's wonderful. You know, you also have something very impressive in your hand that I have. You have a brilliant line in there. You have a fork that goes out into 3, and that's usually a sign of brilliance. So somewhere in your head, you're a brilliant man.
That's because I'm going 3 directions at once.
Yeah, I love it. That's what it is, you see. And this is why he and I are doing this today, because I only run with mavericks, right? Exactly. And this is why John, being a left-brain gentleman who is sat there and worked in media and many other things, he said yes to this because he understands that there's information, and his brilliant mind says, I need to know, I need to know. So this here is letting me know that there's also some writing you must be doing. There's some journaling that must be taking place now in your life so you can clean up that emotional confusion, those inner doubts that you've had. And as you write, you'll find that there's something creative will come out of it. But I love to see, when I see this triple fork, I show it when I do my workshops, we do a drawing of that, and that's always a sign that the person is got all these abilities in their brain, you know. All right, so that's a very good sign. The only negative I find there, John, is you have a tendency to meditate things too long sometimes. You kind of like procrastinate things, you know, you put them on hold, you think about it and think about it, and then sometimes they just get out, lost in space. So my advice to you is please write down, that's what the writer's block is about, write down everything you intend to do. Your heart is in it. And usually when we write it down, and this is why in my sessions most people write, because when you write it, you own it. But the great thing about John, he's going to have it on tape, right?
That's right.
Right. All right, okay. So that's a very positive thing.
And when you say write, are you talking about the specific act of writing, or are you talking about recording it in some way? Because that's what basically my vocation is at this time, is recording what's going on.
You can record it all you want, but it doesn't record in your brain.
Okay, and that was my point. You are talking about the specific act of writing.
Totally. I'm here to work with the computer of you.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's my mission. And anybody who comes to my session, that's what I say. We're here to fix the original computer, which is your brain and your heart. And like I say in my literature, the brain is 5,000 times more, the heart is 5,000 times more powerful than the brain. So that's why immediately your brain shot up the message of the right brain connecting to your heart and saying, yeah, I can work with my heart open. And, okay, all right, so why do you think the greatest directors in the world write their scenes?
So that they know what they're doing.
Because they gotta own them here, you see. So that's why I'm asking you that as you...
And that's the mistake I make.
Okay.
I've got it in my head. I know what, and I think we spoke about this earlier, is after it's done, I know what to do.
Which is wonderful. That's
Right.
the brilliance
Right.
in you. You see, you're already seeing ahead.
Exactly.
That's like with me.
Yeah.
That's why you see, I'm a one-take Sally.
Yeah.
I come here to do it in one take, you know, because I know in my mind, in my brilliant mind, sorry, that yes, I know the message I want to portray. I have meditated about it, I've written it, and I've chanted about it. So this way I can give you a concise message.
Right, and we do that with our shows. Is we basically have written out the points that we want to make sure we cover. How we cover them is a whole different. That's the creativity. That's what gives us the creativity.
You see, the creativity is
Right.
beautiful about that, but we must always have some kind of message there that the brain is recorded, and
Right.
that's why writing. They did a study in Harvard just recently. They put students writing down the class, and students typing them into a computer. Well, they found that the students that wrote the class down in Harvard University, I think it was a philosophical class, learned and retained everything. And the ones that wrote it through and did the computer work retained nothing. So this is true, because what these computers are doing is they're really they're kind of they're attacking that short-term memory and that long-term memory. I find that people who are in computers all day, they have no memory of anything. So therefore, it's very important to exercise. In my sessions, I ask you to be a brain athlete and a spiritual athlete. If you're a brain athlete and a spiritual athlete, you stay young. The younger you keep this brain, the younger this container will stay. So this is very important. So that's why in that you have a writer's fork. Not only will you make sense of the writing, there might even be some poetry coming out of there.
Well, and that's part of my PTSD therapy was writing about the incidents that caused that, or that we thought caused that PTSD. And
Which is because if people around the world see this, what does this mean? Because in other countries we don't know what these abbreviations mean.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay.
So,
all right.
and they used to call it after the First World War and Second World War. They called it shell shock.
Okay.
But until the last 20 years, we didn't even know what that was.
Okay, you didn't know because you're thinking with a left brain Western.
This is this was our training. This was our brought
Right.
up. Oh, don't be a pussy, suck it up.
Can you believe it?
And
And that's why today, half the humanity in the United States is on meds, is crashed, is depressed. Here we are, and I've lived all over the world. I've lived in 5 countries, and I say to people, I have lived in countries where I've seen necessity. And I see in this country of abundance, people like, oh, gee, I can't get the latest car, I'm depressed, or I can't upgrade my phone. It's just such nonsense. You see, what's happened with this Western world, that people are basing their happiness on stuff.
Yep.
And this stuff is going to just disappear, you see. And as a brain athlete and a spiritual athlete that I am, and an alternative therapist and hand psychologist, I'm teaching people that own yourself, be happy with who you are, and this way everything will be the Garden of Eden, whether it be just an apple you're eating, or a walk you're taking, or sitting down with your family and breaking bread.
I read something recently that said, and I forget who the quote was from, but it was basically, if you can't be happy with what you have now, what makes you think you'll be happy with more?
Okay, all right, because that's got to do with left brain feeding the hunger condition of humanity. It's like, oh, if I got this stuff, I'm happy. Well, people get the stuff, I've had the stuff. Not happy, not happy.
Yep.
Yet, sitting sometimes in a beach, watching the sunset, eating the fish that was just caught, or simply if you're a vegetarian, I'm kind of vegan sometimes, but I do eat fish, you know, simply going and breaking food with all these yogis, sitting on the floor, listening to beautiful Indian music. What a gift of life. Or going to Mexico and eating enchiladas and listening to the mariachis. You know, that's really what you take with you, the experiences of life. Gadgets, cars, money can never fill that inner need. So, okay, so let's go back to your hands. All right, so also what I'm seeing here is a triangle of money. So guess what? You're going to be making some money.
It better hurry up.
Now, it's you know, okay, Rome wasn't built in a day.
That's right.
You are creating a whole new persona now. And that's what this session's about. To give you empowerment to work with that persona. That persona that's in overcoming the layers of unconsciousness that you were given when you were trained as a soldier, and the years that you've carried that load in your heart. Okay? Today we're talking about, today is a descending moon. We will be doing, hopefully, another video on a new moon or a full moon, because the descending moon is about giving closure to things. And today we want to give closure to the fact that there's no more fear for you to open that heart and be creative and as eccentric or as out there as you want to be.
I like the eccentric part.
Totally. The eccentric means that out of the box.
Right.
And that's what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
Today's a 5 of diamonds, which is an out of the box day.
Well, my background for the most of my life has been construction. And here I am in the media.
Absolutely.
The last year.
Because you're a creative.
Yeah. That was, I wanted something that would bring that out. This is what does it for me.
But then again, you were around in the 70s in Hollywood and all that, right?
Yes.
And you were part of that love generation,
yep.
And the music.
If you remember the 60s, you weren't really there.
That's what
one
they
of my
say.
favorite sayings.
Yeah, but guess what? I was there. Well, I was a child in the 60s, but I was there in the 70s at a very young age. And that's why I'm writing this book called Life's Eternal Glamour. But we'll talk about that later.
Cool.
All right, so the triangle of money is letting me know that yes, you have the capacity to make the money with your brain. It's your brain that brings you the goods. So continue to trust yourself, trust your creative person, what you want to create with this situation, this wonderful new channel that we have here, and know that there will be rewards. Right? You have the stamina to keep it up. That's what's good about you. And you created a wonderful team. You're a team worker. And that's what makes you so available to create that power. All right. Okay, I see some family stress. I see that in the past there's been a lot of stress in your family. And it looks like you're finally cleaning it up. You're finally getting it over. But I see there was a lot of turmoil. And I see a loss there when you were younger. And this person who passed is watching your back from beyond.
No doubt in my mind.
And do you know who that is?
No, but I know there's somebody back there. Because I couldn't have gotten this far without it.
Oh, isn't it beautiful? Well, so this is exactly what it is. It's the lifeline, and then we have what we call the entity line right next to it. And that's a sign, usually, of protection. You know, it's amazing that this brain is connected to these hands, and these hands are a window. They are a blueprint of what you're doing in your life. And even what is in the quantum physics field, in the non-third dimensional field, we're able to see that someone from another dimension that was connected to your heart in some way, or to your family, or to your DNA, is watching you from beyond and you know, letting you know that you are protected.
And that's one of the things that you just brought up is a lot of the scientific theories today now are saying, hey, there's a real good possibility that there are parallel universes or other dimensions, or, you know, and so I see that coming together of what we call the hard sciences or the alternative sciences.
Well, see, those hard sciences, hard sciences were left brain sciences.
Yes.
They only wanted to tap into what they could see. If I can see it under a microscope, it exists. But guess what? All this vast universe, all this energy around us.
But you can see it if you're looking properly.
Oh, totally.
And you know how to look.
Yeah, well, that's why right now in my workshops and in private sessions, I recommend the resonation with nature. Nature speaks to us constantly, whether it be through a moving leaf, whether it be through the ripple effect in a pond, whether it be the hummingbirds coming around. Like now, if we would have been outside in the patio where we were originally going to tape this, we would have hummingbirds coming around to confirm that the vibration is elevating, that yes, there is a dimension that is not seen. And so we talk about the third dimension, which is us.
Right.
Fourth dimension is what we call that ghost world, you know, like haunted houses.
Yes.
That's fourth dimension. That means they haven't been able to transmigrate to the light. And then the divine energy or dimension is the fifth dimension. Interesting, there used to be a band in the 70s, remember the fifth dimension?
Yep.
So that's what they were talking. Fifth dimension means that the seraphims, the angelic beings, what in Buddhism we call the Sutans angels, are all around us. And they speak to us through birds, through the wind blowing, you understand? It's and many great sages and many great geniuses have written about it in the past. So in the age of Aquarius, it's kind of all coming to fruition. You know, this is the age of transformation where people were going to have to transform and be working with that intuitive mind and be able to understand that no, you don't have to see it to know it. You have to feel it, and it's about resonation. So I recommend that you do definitely take your moments away from your computer and take that moment to resonate, whether it be sitting out in your backyard, whether it be saying, okay, I'm taking a walk through the park. It's hard to find, sometimes to find parks in this area, but...
Especially at 115 degrees.
Right, exactly, right. I understand that. So that's why what we do is I do it very early in the morning.
Or very late at night.
Exactly.
When it's down to below 90.
Exactly. And connect to those stars. I recommend that highly for you. Because you're being watched from beyond, you're protected, and we really want you to heal this area. Whatever is in this part of your hand, which is next to the thumb, we call that the Mount of Venus.
Right.
And that is a part where we're able to see what we're living with the family, with the intimate family, the DNA people connected to us. But then again, we pick these people. We really do pick these people. It's amazing. We pick these people to be able to expiate negative causes we made in past lives. We make these soul contracts. All right, great. All right, so the length of your pinky is letting me know that you are a clear communicator, John, that you are meant to communicate your words, and that no, you know, you're not going to ever be tongue twisted. You definitely got to get out there, communicate. So this is the finger of Mercury, and the length of it is the ability or the talent to communicate, and that's why you are in the media now. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay, okay, so what do you think so far of hand psychology?
Very fascinating, and I see the tie-ins with so many other different philosophies or ideas or metaphysical
Again, metaphysics
concepts.
Means conceived in the mind, made
Right.
physical. So it can no longer be on the bottom drawer. It can't be on the
But I
back
mean,
burner.
Buddhism and a lot of the Eastern philosophies and
Well, Buddhism is, you know...
quantum physics.
Well, that's
you
what
know,
it is. Buddhism is
do
quantum
we
physics.
know, you know...
Well, it's all... Why is it here?
That's right.
Because it's
all,
time to educate us.
Right.
Now, Buddhism means awoken teaching,
Right.
teaching of awakening. So most people are asleep, and they have, you know, we're all born with that third eye open, and most people have closed that third eye, the majority. But we're here to wake up that third eye for you. When you're working with the third eye, then you're in the knowing. You have the intuitive ability to say, yes, I will go, or no, I will stay back, or I need to contact so-and-so. We all communicate through the brain. We communicate with, this is the original cell phone. We send our messages to those that we need to, when we imagine, you know, we work without cell phones for hundreds and thousands of years. People got to get away from the codependence of this thing, this phone, and understand that this and this is the best message you can send. And teach people, in my workshops, I teach people to work with the receptive ability of opening up that third eye, opening up the heart chakra, understanding that our brain is shaping our hands, and that when we pass on, our hands go blank. Isn't that amazing? People go, but why would they go blank? Well, because they're connected to our brain.
Yeah.
Doesn't it make sense that all this blueprint?
And I mean, if you think about it, if you put your hand like that, it looks like the creases and stuff in your brain.
Thank you. Okay. Well, another thing that is important. This is the finger that separates us from the beast.
Yes.
It is the thumb that only the human condition has. So this is connected to the left brain. Not only that, the tissue in the thumb is the same tissue in your brain and in your spine. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So we have this finger because this is where we're able to see the ego of the human being. The longer the thumb, the more ego. And also, the longer the thumb, the more ability to lead others. And let me see your thumb. So your thumb is a very good size. You see, it's not too much ego, it's just enough ego. But what's most important is...
Some people might argue with that.
I've never felt you were an egotistic type man, you know. So this is now the flexibility, see how it's not that flexible?
Yep.
That's letting me know that again, stubborn nature, tendency to...
I'm not stubborn, I told you that before. Quit telling me I'm stubborn.
What it means is exactly that you sometimes have to analyze it before you believe it. But the message today is learn to resonate with it. Trust what your inner voice is saying. Trust your right brain and being in your heart. And once you repair this heart the way it's supposed to be, you know, I know you're very romantic, you're very a man of detail. And once you do that, then you will definitely be reconnecting with the woman that you want to find in this lifetime.
Cool.
All right, and again, the curving of it means you want it all in one package. All right, so any questions?
No, this was very fascinating, a little more detailed than I expected. And I'm always amazed, but yet I know. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yo, that's the knowing in you. See, that's absolutely.
It's a confirmation.
What it is that we're tapping into that intuitive side of your brain, and that's allowing you to go with that cosmic flow, understanding that's right, we are stardust.
Yeah.
And we are, again, like many, many brilliant people have said, we are a spiritual entity and energy having a human experience. That's what we're doing.
Yes, that's one of my favorite sayings, by the way. I like that.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. So that's what it is. So that's why what it is that you, now my message to you today is trust the knowing. Whenever in doubt, ask yourself, listen to your inner voice. Learn to listen to it. Learn to recognize your inner voice. And also understand that your left brain can create illusions that might be totally a fantasy and put you in fear. So no more fear for you, and let's open that heart chakra 100%.
Works for me.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And people who are interested in my workshops or in my one-on-one sessions, I also do corporate events and speaking events. We will be putting on the screen all my contact information.
Yes.
Exactly. And what was that?
I'm showing them where to look. Look right here, and you'll see all of that information right there. See that? Right there. See there?
Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Well, stay cosmic, and we'll see you the next time. I'm Anabella DiWS, and this is The Art of Hand Psychology. Ciao.